friends, Miss Taylor here, and welcome to Sunday Crafternoon. Today we will be making a little gnome friend with some of those odd socks that you find around the house. You know, those socks that just don't have a pair, they don't quite fit together. Well, I'm going to show you how to make those into our cute little gnome friend here. So what you will need for this craft is you will need 2 socks, one that's a little shorter and one that's a little longer. You will need a plastic cup or an old cup that you just don't use anymore, scissors, a hot glue gun, a bottle cap or a pom-pom or cotton ball for his nose, and you will need some yarn, or you can use an old mop or anything you have lying around that you can cut into strips. And I'm going to use a piece of cardboard as well to get my beard the length that I want. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. All right, so let's get started. So first things first, we're going to take our shorter sock, our white sock, and it doesn't have to be white, it can be whatever color you have. And you are going to slip it over the cup. And if the top of the sock is very tight, a trick that you can do is to cut that spandex off, just like that. So see, I've cut the spandex off, and your sock should slip right over. So we're going to do it from the bottom. So the opening of your cup should go into the opening of your sock. Just take a second. You might need to be a little patient if your sock's a little small. If you have small feet like me. Right, so as you can see, I'm just slipping the sock over. I'm pulling it up over the sock until it's nice and tight on the bottom. So that's what the bottom should look like. So you're gonna have all this extra bit on the top, that's okay. So you can see your cup sits just like that, so that's how we get our little guy to sit. And then with this extra bit, you can just tie it off at the top. You don't have to worry about it. You can cut it off if you want, but it might make the sock slip down, so it might be better to actually do this. And so it should look like this. So that is the body of our little gnome friend. So then the next part that we are going to do is we are actually going to work on his beard. So I have some different types of yarn here, and like I said, you can use whatever you have. I am very partial to this super fun, weird yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a trick that you can do to get all of your yarn cut in one length together. So just take a piece of cardboard. You probably want a shorter piece of cardboard since our little gnome friend is small, because that's going to determine the length of the beard. So then we're going to take our string and we're just going to wrap it around. And you might have seen Miss Angie do this on a different Sunday Crafternoon, where she was making something out of yarn as well. So I'm going to kind of unravel my guy a bit. So you want to just kind of keep wrapping until you get it to the fullness that you want for his beard. Or her. I don't know if my gnome's a girl or a boy. Guess we'll find out, won't we? Alright. I'm just kind of going to keep going. So I think that's probably good for the thickness of his beard. So once you've got as much beard as you want, you're going to take your scissors, you're going to hold one end, and you're going to cut along the other end. So when you do that, make sure you get all of it together. You can see, I have one little extra bit. It all comes off together in one clump. So there we have our beard. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clump of fur. I'm kind of going to measure and see how long I want my beard for my friend. That kind of looks too long. So what I'm going to do is just cut the extra bits off that I don't want. And you can make your beard as long or as short as you want. You could braid it if you're so inclined. I hear that's all the rage in gnome fashion is to braid your beard. That's hard to say. And then once I have the length I want, I'm just kind of testing it out. feel like that looks good. We are going to hot glue our clump onto the body. You might need a lot of hot glue for this because it's a lot of beard. Another way you can do this is you can cut individual strands of yarn and you can glue them individually if you want a different kind of look, a more minimalist type of look for your gnome friend. That's always an option. So I've put a nice bit of hot glue. So then you want to kind of just lay your yarn over the hot glue and kind of just pat it down and just kind of add some more hot glue as you go to make sure you have enough to catch all the bits of yarn for your beard. And don't worry if it looks messy at the top because that part is actually going to be covered. So if you've got like some extra glue bits sticking out or the beard didn't lay exactly the way you wanted it to, it's not perfectly flat, it is okay because we're going to cover that part. Ooh, and he's losing some hair already. Uh-oh. That's okay too. Just add more glue. Nice, funky old man gnome is what I'm going for. So now that I'm satisfied with my beard, the next thing I want to do is I want to glue on his nose. So I am using a bottle cap off of a, I believe it's like a Gatorade or Powerade bottle, but you can use whatever you have. You can also use a cotton ball or a pom-pom for a nose. So you can see that's what that kind of would look like. But I really like the look of this, so I'm gonna go for it. So we're just using our hot glue again. Get it all around the cap. And then try to keep it centered and just press down. And you want to hold it for a second just so that hot glue, make sure that hot glue sticks. All right, so he's starting to shape up here. So we've got our nose and we've got our beard. And also don't worry if you didn't get it perfectly centered because he's round, so you can kind of turn him and angle him how you want to give him the look you want. All right, so our last but not least part is to add our gnome friend's hat. So we're gonna take our long sock that I have. You ever get those long socks for Christmas and you're like, I'm never gonna wear that? Now's your chance to use them for a craft. So again, we do wanna cut the top part of our sock off. And I'm gonna cut probably about here. And that way, because the top part's kind of tight, so that gives us more stretch with our sock. So you're going to take your long sock and you are going to stretch it over your friend like that. And you can see he's almost done. You do want to add a little bit of hot glue under the flap of his hat. So I'm just adding some hot glue in the front next to his nose to kind of hold that top sock on. That also keeps all of his beard contained in his hat. Just roll it. And I mean, if you want to put it over his nose, I think it looks cute personally when you kind of put it just a little bit over his nose, like maybe the top of his nose is cold, but you can make your gnome look like however you want. So you could leave him like this, you could finish him off with his hat kind of like this. I like to do one last embellishment. I'm going to take a little bit extra yarn and just give him kind of a fun gnome hat. So I'm just going to take this last bit of yarn and I'm just going to wrap it around and kind of make it a little tight. Give him a little bow for his hat because I think that's cute. My gnome friend wanted a bow, personally. I think he looks great with a bow. And that is how you make a gnome friend. Thank you so much for joining us for this Sunday Crafternoon. Hope to see you next time. Bye!